We had a pretty busy week here on the farm. We had a lot of chores to get to, a sweet surprise towards the end of the week, but the start of the week started off with some consistent all-day rains, which made getting to all of these things that we wanted to get knocked off the to-do list a bit difficult. Something that we really needed to get done this week was to get our calves weaned. So these calves were born last fall. Most of them were born in September, so they're getting a little bit older, and it's high time that they get weaned off of the cow so that the cow has time to dry up and prepare for her next baby. And this group of calves are looking really good, so we're going to go ahead and get them weaned later on in the week. We could not get to it today because it rained like this all day long. So I just got out and did the very basic amount of chores, and we had to push weaning off till the middle of the week so that the rain could stop and we weren't working when it was completely muddy and rainy out. I think the only animals on the farm that really thrive in this weather are the pigs. They love when their pen gets super muddy like this. They're pigs, and that's just their natural thing. They love the mud, but I decided it was time to get them down into a more shaded area and let them kind of forage around through the woods. So over the weekend, we set up this poly netting fence in just a small area, and then that way I can just open the gate from the pen that they're familiar with and let them go down into the woods and explore a bit, but they can come back up into this pen that they're used to for their food and their water. This is typically how we start the pigs, by just slowly introducing them to new areas throughout the wooded areas on our farm. I want to take a minute to introduce you guys to a health platform that gives you the kind of data that most people never see, and that is Function Health, who is the sponsor of this week's video. I decided to take a deep dive to really go that extra step in my personal health journey. And through Function Health, I was able to easily schedule blood work to be done at a local lab to get that full picture of what's going on inside of my body. And then Function Health gets all of those results and updates my profile in one secure place as all the results come in, and then I can get insights from top doctors about my unique results. I actually did have some results come back in that were out of range, but because Function Health is able to put all that in one place, I get insight from top doctors, a thorough explanation of what these results mean, and even an AI chat feature that can prompt helpful tips like a meal plan or a workout plan. So all of these resources can help me to actually make some meaningful changes. If you would like to take that extra step in your health journey, be sure to check out Function Health. I will provide a link for you guys in the description so that you can learn more and also receive a $25 membership credit when you enroll. Thank you so much to Function Health for sponsoring this week's video. I quickly finished all of the chores and I stopped filming because I was getting completely soaked. The rain just kept coming today, and it kind of set in to just be an off and on rain all day long. So after all the chores were done, we went back inside and I decided to get some dinner prepped and knock out a few things inside the house because I knew later on in the week we were going to get busy with all the plans that we had. It's rare this time of year that I spend a whole lot of time inside because generally when the weather is nice, we have farm projects that we are doing pretty consistently all week. With the amount of animals that we have, there's just so many chores day to day. and then trying to keep all the animals moving around and doing all of our rotational grazing systems. There's always setup that needs to be done. So a day like this in the middle of the busyness of it all really isn't that bad. I kind of enjoy just knowing there's nothing I can be doing outside and spending that time indoors for a day. We have been able to start harvesting some of our cool season crops from the garden. So we have lots of lettuce coming in right now, and every meal we've been making a salad to go along with it just to try to keep up with our lettuce crop. We've also been able to harvest some broccoli, and cabbage will be ready very soon. We are definitely looking forward to later on this summer when we have so many fresh vegetables coming in. That's generally how I do most of my cooking this time of year, is just bring fresh vegetables in from the garden, cook those up, and then put some meat on the smoker, something very simple and easy. Because generally this time of year, we don't get back inside until it is dark out. So our evenings get really late and dinner just has to be simple. But because I had a little bit of extra time this evening, I got a batch of ranch dressing made up to go along with all of our salads. I decided to feed my sourdough. That way I can make some fresh bread for the week. And I just put together a pretty simple pasta dish for dinner this evening. When I have fed sourdough, I love to make some easy breadsticks to go along. I literally just heat up the cast iron skillet, pour a bunch of olive oil in it, and pour the sourdough, the fed sourdough in, top it with some seasonings, and those make really good, easy breadsticks to go along with a meal like this. The next morning, the rain finally stopped, and it looked like it was going to be a pretty good day to go ahead and get the weaning process done for our calves. So I started off the morning by making the kids a quick breakfast, just using my fed starter again. I made some sourdough pancakes. Then I also wanted to get some bread made up while my sourdough was still out. And even with all the things going on, I still try to prioritize this time in the kitchen. What has made it very easy for me is that I fall back on the same recipes over and over again, so I can do most of this just from memory. I have made this same batch of bread so many times. I like to use some fresh milled flour and some all-purpose flour just for the texture of the bread. It is the same thing that I do over and over again, so whipping up a batch of it is a very quick process for me. I think that's one of the ways that I have been able to cook from scratch, even in the busyness of the spring and summer seasons, is because I don't try new things. I just stick with what I know and do it over and over again. And if it's something that my family likes, I don't really see the reason why I would have to be experimental with it. So I'm getting a big double batch of sourdough going. I literally just put all the ingredients together and sit and let it rise on my counter for the day. Have all the cattle in a pasture very close to the barn. We're waiting for my dad to come up here today so that we can bring them all in and do our sorting and wean those calves. But before he gets up here, I'm just wanting to get out and get all of my chores done, because when you work cattle like that, you just never know exactly how long things are going to take. Sometimes things will take a lot longer than you think they should have. So having everything done just helps me to feel not rushed through that process. Taking care of our meat chickens is a big chore for me this time of year. It is an everyday chore. We move these tractors forward to fresh grass. We had to refill all of their feeders and then make sure all of their water is fresh. The chickens do really good out here in this chore. Even though it's every day, I have gotten a lot quicker at doing it. So we have 5 chicken tractors, and I would say it takes me about a half hour to move them all forward, fill the waters and the feeders for the day. So it doesn't take me a whole lot of time to do it, but it is something that needs everyday attention. It was time to get the cow herd up to the barn, so I just go ahead of them in our side-by-side and call, and they all follow me, and then my dad usually walks behind to make sure all of them are coming out of the field. And then to do the weaning, we just very simply bring them all into our big working area, and we'll just start sorting through them. The ones that go back out to pasture, and then the calves that we're weaning are going to stay up here in this lot for a few days. You have to have really good fencing when you wean, otherwise the calves will immediately get back out with the cows. So we just bring them up to the lot where we have a good weaning area, so they will stay in here for just a few days for the weaning to kind of take place. There's a lot of mooing back and forth when you first wean calves, so it's just important to have them in like a smaller area. We also like to allow the cows to be up close to the fence so the calves can see their mamas during this process. But because these calves are already a little bit older, they weaned super quickly, so it was all very low stress. The calves got over it very quickly. The mama cows quickly settled into pasture without their babies, so the whole process went really well. As soon as the calves were ready, we actually loaded them up into our trailer and hauled them to another farm for the summertime. So we rent pasture ground from my uncle. He has a farm that he no longer has cattle on. So every summer we'll bring our weaned calves over there, and they can have all of that fresh grass to themselves for the summertime. They do really well on his farm, and they quickly settled in, and they're going to do really well out here for the summertime. I have shared with you guys in recent videos how we finally purchased a family milk cow. Her name is Lori, and she was due to have a heifer calf when we bought her, and she just had that baby. I had been really looking forward to her calving because once she has her baby, the milking begins. Lori is a heifer herself, so this means that is her first baby to be born, and I really wasn't sure how she was going to take to the whole milking process. My plan was to try to get her halter broke immediately when we got her, but we ended up just putting her out with the other cows and waiting for her to have the baby before we did anything. So today I'm getting her up into our cattle working chute for the very first time to get her milked out. She still has a lot of colostrum milk, which the baby really needs, but she's producing much more than the baby will be able to nurse off of her, and her bag was getting really full. So in order to prevent her from getting mastitis or anything, I had to get her milked out. And the reason she is in our cattle working chute and not down at the barn is because we just haven't gotten her down there yet. But she is so calm and easy that we put a halter on her and let her down to the barn, and we're going to get our morning routine of milking her more officially started very soon. And I look forward to sharing all of that with you guys and how this whole process is going. For now, we're letting her stay with her calf. We're not separating them yet. We're letting this calf get all that she wants, especially while Lori still has the colostrum milk. She did kick the bucket on me one time today, so I poured that milk to the chickens to enjoy. And then all of the other colostrum that I collected, I've been straining off and then freezing it, so that way we can save this for when our beef herd starts calving this fall. If we have any babies that need a little bit extra, I will have this good colostrum stored away in our freezer straight from the source. Thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to sharing more with you guys next week. I plan to share way more about our family milk cow and how that whole process is going so far.